Hey, so remember in the last video where I said, Dagoma, please send me a 3D printer? For this build, well, Dagoma sent me a 3D printer! Oh man, look at it go! Came in this giant box. Yeah, look at that. Hey guys, it's my first unboxing video. Full of amazing, magical things. I've wanted a 3D printer pretty much since they were invented, but just never got around to getting one. It arrived completely assembled except for the arms, but those just snap right into place because magnets! Isn't that amazing? They're magnetic bearings. Or, well, I guess regular bearings that the magnets attach to. You get what I'm trying to say. One of the things that I love about this 3D printer is that a lot of the components themselves are 3D printed. I'm printing with a yellow Polymax PLA, but the machine takes all different kinds of plastic, and you can adjust the temperature settings based on the type of plastic that you're printing. You have to calibrate the printer before you can actually print anything, but you do that just by holding in the button while plugging in the machine. The NEVA came with a pretty straightforward manual, but I double-checked their online video tutorials because that's the medium that I'm most comfortable with. I don't know if any of you could tell that. I know it's surprising to learn. The software that it uses can be downloaded right from Dagoma's website at no additional charge, and it's incredibly intuitive. You just tell it what kind of plastic you're using, how you want to orient your print, whether it's hollow or solid, whether or not it needs supports, and then hit prepare print, and it loads the file right onto an SD card, which also comes with the printer. You plug that into the NEVA, push the button, and away it goes! So I've been compiling a list of things that I want to print for the past year or so, some of which I'm gonna make right now. I'm gonna start with this little Stargate prop as a benchy. These were like evil alien Lego bricks on that show that would come together to form spiders that would shoot acid and eat metal, and then totally 3D print more evil alien Lego bricks to make even more evil spiders. So it's at this point I figured out that if there's perfectly flat overhang, then you really need to put in supports, and that pretty much goes without saying for any 3D printer. Also, it'll give you recommended temperature settings, and as you can tell from the bottom of that block, you should totally follow the recommended temperature settings. Just saying. I tried 2 different orientations before finding the one that worked the best. I love that it has a spatula. Once I figured that out, I moved on to something more complex. I want to do a tutorial for the electro chain whip from the throne room fight scene in The Last Jedi, but this complicated rib detail on the blade made me push that build off to some future date, because making it by hand would mean hours of tedious, obnoxious work. However, Silver Delta 14 on Thingiverse did a file for those parts, so let's print it up! This is so cool. It's like the Fifth Element where that space machine 3D prints Mila Jovovich. This is gonna be great for me because it will save me a ton of time in the shop. Now I know some people are gonna be of the mindset that a 3D printer has no business being on a DIY channel because not everyone can afford one. However, this is pretty cheap as 3D printers go. But you know, for the sake of argument, let's go with that. If I can show you how to build part of a prop in 20 seconds and then tell the NEVA to make that part while I work on another part, then that's a huge time saver to me, and it still imparts the information to people who don't have the 3D printer but do have the free time to make the part by hand. Does that make sense? Here, let me show you. In a situation where I need to cut, sand, and glue 80 of these rings, it's way less time consuming for me to print this and then show you how to do 3 of these rings by hand. Oh, hey, and another thing, if I can print out a small scale model of something that I'm trying to make giant, just having the 3-dimensional view that I can look at and check for details, that's exponentially more helpful to me than looking at grainy photos of 2 angles of something that I'm trying to make. Also, I'm not gonna apologize for accepting a free 3D printer. This thing is awesome. Like, yeah, it's gonna make occasional appearances in my tutorials, but behind the scenes, I'm just gonna print so many spaceships, you don't even know. One of the reasons that I've been hesitant to get into 3D printing is that, well, it's intimidating. You hear horror stories about getting 9 hours into an 11-hour print and then running out of filament. But the NEVA really streamlines the process. There's no learning curve. It's incredibly intuitive. It will tell you exactly how long the print takes, how hot to set it based on the type of plastic, how much filament it'll use, and what the material cost of that filament is, which I think is really cool. If you run into an issue, you can pause the print, you can eject the filament to change the color. It's just phenomenal. The printer starts at $4.99 USD. At the time of recording this though, it's on sale for $2.99 USD, which is an amazing deal considering that similarly priced 3D printers that I've come across have a print bed half this size. It doesn't come with a spool holder, which is an issue that others have addressed, but I mean, lazy Susans, yo. While this won't become a 3D printing channel, I know the NEVA is going to be regularly utilized as parts of my builds or to make props and miniatures that don't necessarily lend themselves to a typical tutorial. For instance, when I do a test film, there are a lot of small, unassuming props that don't get a tutorial but do take a lot of time to make, like the ones in this montage. And that's an area where the NEVA will pick up so much slack for me. I love this thing. It's my favorite machine, guys. I'm sorry, Belt Sander. You'll always have a special place in my heart. Oh, well, then I guess just power. So I want to thank Ben and all the others who work at Dagoma for sending me the NEVA. I also want to thank Grace from Zombie from Texas for putting me in touch with the right people, and Odin from Norse mythology. He's never heard that. And Odin from Odin Makes for making an incredibly comprehensive video that was really helpful to me just for figuring out how I could implement the NEVA in my own work. And of course all the Thingiverse makers who made the test prints that I did. Links to those files can be found in the description down below. If you're interested in the NEVA and you want to learn more, then you can head on over to Dagoma's website and let them know I sent you there by clicking the link in the description down below. Prop makers have a habit of naming their machines, so I'm gonna call the NEVA Rick, cause it's never gonna give you up, never gonna make you cry. Yeah, that's what they want from their sponsor video, to be Rickrolled. Thanks for watching everybody, Jake out!